Hi there, Leif here from iTech Office Technology. Welcome to another tutorial in the Konica Minolta bizhub series, and I hope you enjoy it. Okay, first we're going to cover off the different buttons on the screen. You can see at the very top right the menu button. That's basically the home screen button. Takes you back to the main menu, so whatever screen that you're in, just press the home button and you're back to the home screen. The next one down, enlarge display, that's just to make the display bigger, so that's what it means. The guidance button might be very useful when you're in a certain area. You can see if I press it now nothing happens, but if I go into any of the screens and need help with anything, for example if you're into any option, when you press the guidance button you get the help menu up, or the guidance if you like, for that specific screen that you're in. So very handy function. The access button, that is designed for logging in or logging out if you have authentication enabled, as in if you need a username password to log in. If you don't have that set up, you don't need to worry about that button. The interrupt button, that's basically for if you have, say, nothing happens now because the machine is idle, but if someone has started, for example, a big copy job that is going to take a long time, you can hit that interrupt button and you can actually interrupt and do a job in between. You basically stop the job that is currently going to do another job. The last one on the side here on the right is the preview button. That is for giving you a preview of a scan or a copy job before it's actually completed. That's quite useful. For example, imagine if you're going to scan a document and you want to make 100% sure that it looks perfect before you scan and send it to an email, for example. You can use the preview button for that, and I'll show you that a little bit later. The reset button is just to, if you've gone in, for example, to the copy screen and changed something, and you just hit reset to reset the settings back to the default settings. I use that all the time. The stop button is to stop a current job that is going. For example, if you started a copy job and you want to stop it, you use the stop button. The start button is just to start the process or start what you're doing. This one here, these new panels don't actually have a physical keypad on them as standard. So this one here with the 10 keypad, you press that one and you get a keypad up on the touch screen. The 1 and 2, what that is if I go back to the home screen, 1 brings up the scanning screen, and 2, they're like a shortcut or a quick guide if you like. So I think number 1 is set up for scan to scanning, number 2 is for copy screen. So you can see if I press number 1 I get the scanning screen up, number 2 copy screen, and then the power button is just to power it on and off. Next we're gonna cover off just these 3 buttons at the top. If I go into accessibility, that's just some settings in there where you can adjust the brightness or a couple of other things like displays and sounds. Sound could be quite good too. If the sound is driving you crazy, you don't like the beeping, you can turn that off completely in there, which is handy. The counter button, press the counter button and that will display the counter information of the meter count on the machine. And back to the home screen again. The job list, very useful as well. The job list will display all active or current jobs in here. You can see there's nothing in there, but you can also go into the log and see any jobs that have been completed in there. But if you have an list of active jobs in there, you can go and prioritize them on here or delete them if you didn't want them to print, and so on. Next thing, we're going to cover off the copy screen. So how to do a very basic copy. If I go into the copy screen, to make a very basic copy, we'll put a original into the top feeder, just face up in the feeder, and hit start. That's all you need to do a basic copy. Next, I'm going to cover off the different functions on the copy screen. So if you wanted to adjust any of the copy settings, I'm going to go through this first one here, text/photo printed. You can tap on that one, and that's basically describing what the original is. Normally you don't need to change this because the machine will do a good job with the default text/photo setting. But there is like a photo option or a map option. If it's a map you're copying, and it might give you a slightly better result if you change that one. The next one, color, it says it's set to black as default, but if I wanted to change it to color, if I wanted to make a full color photocopy, I can select that there. And there's also an option there for 2 color or single color. You can have a play with that yourself if you're interested in seeing how that works. The next one, density, basically to lighten or darken the original. So just tap increase the darkness if you want to make it darker or lighter, or standard. The next one is paper and paper size. So it's paper type and paper size. So if I go into there, you can see the different paper trays laid out. So on this particular machine, there's a paper tray 1, 2 and 3. Number 1 has A4 in it, and yeah, they've all got A4 in it. And this one here on the side, that's the multi bypass tray on the side of the machine. So you can select any of those, but generally you don't need to select it because it'll just pick up the auto selection. Then we move on to the zoom button for reduce and enlarge. You can have some common ones here. You know, if we want to reduce from an A3 to an A4, or if we want to enlarge A4 to A3, and anything in between, you can set the zoom manually or select any of those options in there. The next one is the duplex combine, so I'll select that one. There's a few different options in there. The default one is just single-sided, so single-sided original, and it'll give you a single-sided output or single-sided copy. The next one is when you have a single-sided original and you get a double-sided copy, and the opposite. So a double-sided original will turn into single-sided copies, or double-sided to double-sided. And there's also options there for the setting the binding position, whether it's portrait or landscape, and how you want it bound. So generally you don't need to touch this if it's just a normal portrait copy, but if it's in landscape mode, you might say that, you know, if it's upside down on the other side, it's an indication that your binding position is wrong and you just need to change it. There's also an option for combine. So this is not a duplex single-sided double-sided, but it will actually, if you select that 2-in-1, it will actually reduce 2 pages and put it onto 1 page. And the same with 4-in-1, 8-in-1, it will just combine those number of pages and reduce it down and put it onto 1 page. So that's that one. The next option is finishing, and you may not have all these options on your machine. The standard machine will have the grouping and sorting option. So group means all page ones together all page 2s together, whereas sort is more like a document. It will be sorted into like page 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 for multiple copies. And this particular machine also has stapling and folding available, so I can choose a corner staple, so that's in the top left corner, or we can do a 2-position staple with 2 staples on the side. If I go into the position setting, you can see where that position of the staple will be. Or if I turn off the staple, I've also got a fold bind option here, which will allow me to make booklets. So I can do a half fold without a staple, or I can do a center staple and fold, which is the booklet option. And we've also got a tri-fold option there, which is for like a letter fold or a DL brochures, that kind of thing. So these are all available when copying on the copy screen. And basically all along here, these are all the standard options, but we've also got an application button here with the more advanced options. I'm not going to go through those in this quick guide, but I'm just going to click on it and just show you that there's a whole, you can slide and drag across here, and there's a whole range of different options in there for more advanced use. Some of the common ones I normally go through would be like a ID copy function for driver's licenses or IDs, but there's other things in there as well. And the last thing I'm going to cover on the copy screen is, of course, how do you make more than one copy, and that is up here in the number of sets. If I wanted to make 5 copies, I can just tap on the number of sets, and that will bring up the keypad, and I can select how many copies I would like. Or you can also press the keypad, that will do the same thing. It will bring up the keypad on the screen, and you can type in a number. So that's it for the copy screen. Now we're going to cover off the scan fax screen. So I'm going to select the scan fax button, and I'm going to go through these basic options with you. If I'm going to scan something, in this case I've got an email set up there. So to scan a very simple document to email, all I need to do is to press the email. In this case I've set up my own email address in the address book, so I'll just select that one, put the document face up in the document feeder and hit start, and that document is now emailed to me with the default standard settings. If you want to make any adjustments to the settings, I'm going to go through these and explain what they are. So same thing again, from the address book I'm going to select my email address, and down the side here, these are similar to what you see on the copy screen. The first one is simplex duplex, so it's default to single-sided. If the document that I'm scanning is double-sided, I'm going to select double-sided, or there was also an option in there for cover plus 2-sided, which means that your first page is single-sided but all remaining pages are double-sided. So you can select the option you need in there. The next one along is called resolution. We normally set the machine's default to 300 by 300 dpi, which is a standard scan resolution for a text document. If you need any more detail than that, you could increase the resolution, which will give you more detail, but the file size will also be bigger. So especially when you're scanning to email, you want to be aware of the file size and not make that too big unless you have to. The next one along is the color setting. So you can scan the document in auto color or full color. That will scan they're both color options, grayscale or black if you want, if that's what you need. The next option is for the file type, so I'm going to click on that, and as you can see there, the default file type is compact PDF. That will be, it's a standard PDF, but it's much smaller than in file size. It's about 80% smaller than a standard PDF, so it's very handy for compacting the scanned document to be emailed. But we can select PDF. TIFF is another option, XPS, PPTX to create a PowerPoint presentation, or perhaps you need a JPEG if you're scanning images or photos, and compact XPS. On the side here, this is quite a useful function. We have something called multi-page and page separation. You can see multi-page is highlighted there. What that means is that if I put say a 10-page document into the feeder on top, just go back into my scan option, that's where I was. If I select the multi-page, you put a 10-page document into the feeder, you get one email with one PDF file that is 10 pages long. In some cases you may want to change this to page separation, and you can see that, so I can separate the pages for every single page. That means that if I put 10 pages in there, I will get 10 files that are 1 page each, and I've got an option there of sending all files as one email or one file per email. So if I selected one file per email, I would get 10 emails with one PDF file in each one and one page in each PDF. If I selected that one, you'd get one email with 10 attachments in it with all 1 page each. And if I change that one to a say 2, then you would get a new page or a new PDF file, I should say, for every 2 pages. So each PDF file would be 2 pages long. Quite tricky, but very handy if you need that kind of function. There's also a PDF detail setting with a couple of more advanced options in there that I'm not going to go through. The next one is the scan size. Generally, you don't need to, if you're scanning standard size documents, you don't need to worry about this because the machine will determine the size automatically. But of course, you could select any other sizes or even a custom size. If you need to type in the size of the document, you can type that in there and scan a custom size. The last one on the screen here is the file name and subject and from address, and this is quite handy if you scan to email and you want to give the PDF file a meaningful name. So I'm just going to select my email first, go into the file name to show you what I mean. See, this file name here has like it's a default generated file name that is not very meaningful if you want to send this attachment to, say you want to forward it to a client or someone else. So I can tap that little keyboard there. You see the file name in here, hit the C button to clear the file name, and I can call it my file, or give it a meaningful name so you know what it is. Hit OK on that, and that would be the name of the PDF attachment. You could also change the subject and the from address if you wanted that by following the same thing. Hit the keyboard icon or select from the list. Also, exactly the same as on the copy screen, there's an application button, so we can click on that, and that's got more advanced settings in there, such as watermarks and separate scan. That's another one that is useful, or a book scan for scanning books, but that will be covered in a more advanced training video. And that's basically everything covered from the scan screen. The next one we're going to cover off is the user box option. So we'll select user box, and you can think of the user box as like a folder of documents. And you can see I created one user box in here earlier just so we've got something to work with. I've created one called demo. So a user box, it's like a folder, and I'll double click on that one. And you can see there's nothing in there at the moment, but I'm going to show you how we can store a document in there. So I've already put a document face up in the document feeder, and I can then select this option on the side here. I'll select save. I can then modify any of these buttons underneath if I want it double-sided, or change the resolution, color black and white, and so on. But I'm just going to leave all the settings as default. The only thing I'm going to change is the file name. So you can see that's got an automatically generated file name, not very meaningful. So I'm going to press the C button to clear the name, and I'm just going to call this document test. Oops, if I know how to type. Test, and hit OK and start. So the document that I had in the document feeder will now be saved into this folder, and I can double click on this folder again. So I'm going to double tap on that, and you can see now that there's one document in there called test. And another very handy function is of course because in these user boxes you could store all types of documents. There might be forms or brochures or PDF files, so documents, user guides, whatever you might need to store in there. So now when I've got a document in there, I can select the document, and you get more menu options down the side here. You get an option to, once I've got a document in there, I can copy it, I can move and delete it, I can send it, which means I could send it as a fax or an email directly from here, or I can print it. So I'm just going to select that document today, and I'm going to show you how to print this document. So I just hit the print button. I can make any changes to the print here, or select up there how many sets or copies I wish, and hit start, and the document that I had in that user box will now print out. So this is very handy for documents that don't change very often, documents that you can store in there and reprint as you need them. Perfect for forms and static documents. And that's it for the user box. I hope you enjoyed our tutorial, and if you want to see more of this, please subscribe to our channel to get regular updates as we post new training videos. Talk to you soon.